Hi y'all, welcome back. My name's Taylor and we are doing my June wrap up. So this is part 2. If you want to go back, you can see part 1. I do have 6 books for this video. The first one is Murder of Crows by Anne Bishop. This was a reread or re-listen. I listened to the audiobook. I did this as a group read, but this is also one of my absolute favorite series that I constantly reread. So this book is fun because it's kind of like the end of our main character's bad guy, but also introduces the like worldwide bad guy. And I love the interactions of the others because they're more like basic, isn't their exact, maybe they're more primal, I guess. They're very like kind of straightforward, whereas humans come in and like mix things up. I just love this world. I highly recommend this series. It starts with Written in Red. It is not a romance though, so don't go in expecting, like there is a romance there, but it is like the slowest of slow burns, but not a romance, so don't go in expecting that. But I highly recommend it. Next was The Girl Who Chased the Moon. So this is by Sarah Addison Allen, and she actually posted on her Instagram talking about the full moon of June. I think it was like the strawberry moon and kind of like what that means. And it just, I wanted to reread it again. So I listened to it and it was just as magical. It's one of my top 2 favorites by her. And there's just this theme of like, you're not the same person as you were in high school. Like when you grow up and become an adult, like you don't have to be that same person. You can change. But sometimes in these small towns, like you can't change if you stay in the small town. Sometimes you have to leave. And it's kind of also just about like not blaming children for their parents' mistakes. Again, they're different. Just because their parents did something one way doesn't mean they're going to do it the same. And I love these. Yes, there's a romance in them, but there's also just like a lot of family in it and like family relations. I adore Sarah Addison Allen. I love this magical realism. Highly recommend. Okay, unpopular opinion. I like a pregnancy romance or like an unexpected pregnancy in a romance. I enjoy it. So in that mood, I went and found Locked Out. And so the actual like first time it's not a sexy romance at all. So like they skip over the whole like making of the baby. It's just like, hey, she's gonna have a baby. But I really enjoyed this because there was like a lot to the characters. They had baggage that they kind of like had to overcome. Everything wasn't just like sunshine and roses because she was pregnant. And so seeing their kind of relationship bloom, and then also the relationship between like her and his family, and I really enjoyed it. I will say, I think there's a second book in this series, maybe, or a second book that's kind of related, but I don't know if I'm gonna read it. This one was exactly what I wanted, with like a pregnancy romance and on the beach. It made me so happy. I enjoyed it. Next was Killer Triggers. So this was so fun because I did not expect to enjoy this the way I did. So obviously true crime, and Kenda, he's a very big name in the true crime community. I don't watch as much true crime as I do like listening to the podcast. I'm not a big fan of like the dramatization and things. Like I just want to hear the story. And so I haven't really watched him, but I went and watched a few episodes just because like, so he is telling, like at the beginning of the chapter, you have what the trigger is, so if it's money or whatever. And then he goes on and tells you the story of him working the case and solving the case and yada, yada, yada. But then there's some points at the end where like the bad guy only got so many years in prison, but if it was up to me, he would have been dragged through a town square and shot and tortured and yada, yada. He has such sass, and it's so fun. So yeah, I didn't expect that coming out of like a true crime to like actually laugh, but I highly recommend it. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed how like the cases were kind of like bite-sized pieces, so like it's not like one big case for hours and hours. It keeps your attention. Next was an arc of All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers, she's the host of the true crime podcast Crime Junkie, which is one of my favorites. I subscribe to their Patreon. I got this arc through NetGalley and I liked it. So it's kind of about this journalist who there was a girl murdered in her hometown, and they were the same age, and they were actually neighbors, and they never found the girl's killer. And so this is kind of stuck with her, and she became a journalist, and she's always kind of come back to who did this. And she's even kind of like tied it to other cases, like, oh, they're kind of similar, but it kind of seems like she's reaching for it. And so she has to come back home to help take care of her uncle, who has, I believe, dementia, or he's forgetting a lot of things, and it's a lot worse than she realized. So she's kind of trying to come home and take care of him, but it's causing a lot of complications with her journalist job. And then there's another murder, and granted, it's in the next town over, but it's only like 8 miles away, and if you're in a small town, you know that's not far. So there's striking similarities, and she's trying to like tie them together. But while everyone's focusing on the other case, she's kind of digging up things from the past case in her hometown to like try to connect them. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I love the twists and turns. You also get a dual timeline of the original victim from her hometown, the girl's mother. So you get her point of view along with the main character journalist's point of view as she's trying to tie the cases. And so the mother's is like back when her daughter was first murdered. I don't know if any of that makes sense. I hope so. But so it's kind of like a dual timeline and different point of views. I really enjoyed it. It really like brought something else to the story. My only complaint is I didn't like the ending, but I didn't like where it ended. I'm gonna go with that. I didn't like where it ended. We'll put it that way. Okay. Ashley Flowers is a great storyteller from like the true crime world. Like she does so many things, and like so I had high standards for this, and I feel like it really met them. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I think it comes out in August, so that's really exciting. The last book on my list was Lake Silence. Yes, this is the same series as the others. So this one was kind of a spinoff, and for some reason, when I read Murder of Crows, I was like, oh my god, I really want to read Lake Silence. But it's like, there's like 3 or 4 books in between those, but I just wanted to jump to Lake Silence. And since it's kind of a spinoff, I did whatever. It made me happy. Read what makes you happy. Okay, so a woman gets her divorce, and she gets this property in her settlement. And it's like a B&B rustic cabin place, but it's really decrepit. And so she does everything she can to like restore it. And she's got like one guest, and what she doesn't know is the guest is one of the others. It's a crow guard. And the original purpose of this like B&B area was to help the others and humans mingle. And so the others are watching her as she's like rebuilding this B&B and like seeing how she interacts with the others. And of course, she's very accepting. She has been through a lot of trauma through her divorce and her previous marriage. And so she has a lot of like anxiety, and she has a hard time around males. And so she's working on that, but something happens, and her ex-husband is wanting to get the property back. And so him and his slimy friends like start causing a ruckus and doing all these different things, and the others really like surround her and protect her, but also like support her. And it's really great. I love these. I love this world so much. So Crowbones came out this year, and that is the sequel to Lake Silence. I don't know if I'll reread that one just yet, but Lake Silence is what I finished up the month with, and it was just a great ending. So I am really happy with like my June wrap up. In total, I read 15 books. I have my little planner. I have a flip through coming soon of my whole reading planner currently, and I'm excited to share it with you. So I had 3 physical, 8 audio, and 4 ebooks, and my most read genre was fantasy. So yeah, let me know, how was your June reading? If you notice paint on me everywhere, we have decided to repaint our kitchen cabinets, and it's a process. It's going. That's all I can say. But it's gonna look great. So I keep telling myself it's gonna look great. yeah, so tell me, have you read any of these? Are you gonna add some to your TBR? I would love to know that. All right, and I will talk to you guys later. Read what makes you happy. Bye, y'all.